super stoked for this. I think it's super interesting that the analysts they feel so strongly that G2 are going to have the edge, and I kind of have to agree. Vitality have come to Villa before. They played against Team Secret and it went to a draw, and that was the first time that they started to look like they were picking things up, but they weren't super coordinated as we would like to see going against a team like G2. So obviously things are going to start off here in the operator ban phase, and it's going to be Nomad banned out by Vitality to kick things off.
Well, the thing is, G2 wasn't really that impressive against BADS as well. Yes, they almost managed to get the draw in, but it wasn't that they were playing so amazingly well. So they definitely have some of their own improvements to put through for today's matchup. That leaves us at two teams that need to improve if they want to be here for that top 4. As the Thatcher, you could just see, was being banned together with the Valkyrie. Often you see the Valkyrie and the Nomad going hand in hand, as it will basically shut down. They cancel each other out, of course. Like, if you leave the Valkyrie up with a Nomad ban, there's going to be a lot of runouts to come through and a lot of roams on a map like Villa. People just sneaking up on those the staircases. So banning out that Valkyrie is at least going to be toning down the defense just a small bit.
And obviously, you know, just with things finishing off with the Wamai here, one thing that's notable is that something that G2 have been doing very much to their advantage recently is a lot of that shield play. We've seen the Monty, the Blitz, and the Clash come out from this team in the last few play days, and none of those operators are banned here. So that is something that they could use very well. It's something we saw Na'Vi do when they came up in their last time that they came here. And that's exactly what we're seeing. Citizen there on the Montagna, typically you would expect to see Pengu playing this role.
Yeah, so it might get 6 picked out. There we go. I was going to say, it's probably going to get 6 picked out. If it's not Pengu, it's going to be a 6 pick to come through. Don't see any adaptation to come in, though, from Vitality. Most likely due to the fact that they would be aware that this is how they do it. Of course, like, you may be trying to bait out a smoke or bait out a Legion to deal with that Monty. Now, Legion is already there, so they didn't really change from that. Instead, they brought the Mira in. As the Monty goes out, and the Nook will be entering the board, hoping to get in, like, sneakily, silently. Maybe picking up some kills from Astro Stairs, or maybe rotating all the way around, or going from the bottom floor first, trying to clean up the roamers. We don't know yet.
I mean, the Nook is certainly one of those operators that we've seen Citizen play in the past and do so very well. And of course, it does mean that G2 are going to have those 3rd and 4th frag grenades available to them. And when you've got the Wamai banned out, you obviously have much less protection against those incoming projectiles, as they're only going to be relying on the ADSs from the Jaeger. So if G2 can make that work out well for them, that could be a big pressure on the shoulders here of Vitality. They're starting to make their move in. And Vitality have obviously opted to bring the Mirror. And I think that was a 6 pick, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Onto the Mirror. So that's what Fabian is going to be playing. And just droning in here is G2. And they're going to choose to move in up from the south side of the map, rather than making too much of a push in from that master bedroom area that you very typically see. But obviously these roamers down here from Vitality are going to be on the lookout.
Do you see how north-oriented this defense is? Normally when people are in Trophy Statue, they would at least put someone or maybe 2 people in EVG, just to make sure that the current entry that G2 had is not going to be possible. And well, the Roman's already rotated all the way back upside as well, so there's literally going to be no other option for them than to go for these vertical gunfights, as well, maybe they would like to drop through a hatch, but G2 is going to have so much freedom right now, so much free ground they can move to, as literally everything else has been forfeited by Vitality.
Still a lot of patience being taken here by G2 as we reach the halfway point in the round. We saw a lot of those angles trying to be held there, but Uno Meister is going to be the one to take advantage of them, as Hungry is the first to fall. Things turn around there onto Virtue, though, and actually Pengu, he's going to have to deal with a threat oncoming. That was Bibu being very aggressive there, but of course G2 did get the upper hand in that altercation. Rise as well, nearly feeling it, but it looks like G2 are going to be the ones to start clearing things up, as only Fabian is left remaining. He was one of those key roamers there on the bottom floor, so he's had to move up here the red stairs and he knows that he's going to be contesting his former team, but they're going to be the ones to win things out. And that was just, it was quite clean there from G2. They were able to deal with a lot of those kills, but I think there was some unnecessary aggression there from Vitality that didn't need to be taken.
As soon as Rise jumped out from that window onto that balcony, Pengu knew exactly where he was. Basically already turning it into a 4-on-1 situation as soon as that happened, because all Pengu needed to do is just hold down on that angle. There's nowhere else he can go, and that's exactly what he did. Shut down that second player that was still left standing on Vitality, and well, after that, it was just Fabian who wasn't even allowed to enter the side again, and basically they were shut out themselves. Talking about shutting out, I was going to say there's going to be a castle on the board, but it's being 6-bit out to Goyo, as the Nuck will be making a change as well to a Zofia. So we're going to be seeing a lot more flexibility to come in from the likes of G2 in case of dealing with utility. Having that double impact and double stun available in the lifeline is going to be able to help you to potentially get these players out of Vault, for example, or from behind the bar.
Yeah, I suspect that Vitality, became very obvious to them that they, were going up against a lineup that had a significant amount of utility, and so change things up slightly here. And of course, they are on a different site. They've come here to Aviator Games, so it's kind of more standard to bring something like the Ella, who can play there on the main stairs. That's what we're seeing here. This setup being put up, and there's her shield. But of course, as you say, the Goyo being brought instead of the castle is going to mean that more utility is going to have to be expended to deal with those Vulcan shields as well. And you have to, watch out for something like the Capitan on the side of G2. You can use that in some of those rooms. For example, Aviators start to clear out a lot of those defenders and force the positioning on their side. As well, you have the smokes too. So still a decent amount of utility being brought there. As you mentioned as well, that 6-pick for the Zofia, meaning that lifeline is available, will help bring down things like those shields on the side of Vitality.
Definitely will help in dealing with that utility. There's also 2 extra deployable shields being brought by both the Ella and the Smoke, which even ups the amount of utility that needs to be wasted. Luckily for them, there's not going to be any evil eyes on the board, because that would have made things even worse. As Hungry right here behind the second shield, trying to contest and to study. Gogo in the meantime being a responsible one and making sure that the main stairs will stay under control of Vitality, because as soon as they would lose that, it is going to be a very annoying situation for Hungry to play in. It's going to be some Ella mines tossed right there just to assist in case someone would be pushing and he would be gone. As right now, G2 trying to find themselves a way in, but the question is where.
There's a Citizen here just holding onto this angle, trying to see if any of those members of Vitality are going to peek. And we saw Bibu be very aggressive in the last round, so it's not too crazy for them to assume that that could happen. But Virtue's going to be getting some of this stun as the smoke is sent out, but also seeing fire lit there at the top of main. But it's going to be G2 getting those first 2 early kills once again. Hungry's taken also a decent amount of damage, and he's got to be very aware, very vigilant as he sat here at the top of the stairs. In goes some of those shots there from Fabian down below, but isn't going to be able to get anything for them. G2 is still sitting here with the advantage.
Yeah, definitely almost no damage done there onto Kanto. Of course, the Vector not really the best gun to deal some damage from these vertical holes, especially not to go through some wood layers. As Kanto's trying to return the favor right here, but there's still someone on top of main. And you might actually want to use that G36C onto pushing that. Bibu now going aggressive. Will be getting the kill into Citizen. It's a 4-3 situation with only 40 seconds left. The only thing that Bibu has to do is not stand up. As Uno goes to the pre-fire right there, not going to be able to hit it. So instead, we'll be throwing a grenade in. He's going to get down himself though. Returns the favor with that frag grenade. It's an effective 2-on-2 situation. We're counting down slowly. Pengu gets one more, gets the secure as well. It's Kanto to finish it off as Pengu wanted to go for the revive. It's G2 to win round number 2 as well, as they are expanding on their lead on a defense side of Villa.
Being able to secure those kills at the end there, pretty impressive. And Kanto, who didn't necessarily have the best game on Playday 4, but has mostly been showing up for a lot of this season getting some of those as well. Now, we're going to be moving on over to Kitchen, and so far it's been a little bit disappointing here for Vitality. They were a little bit over assertive on the first round, and they kind of reeled that in a little bit for the second. But even though they had a solid idea of where those members of G2 were, and they were thinking, how can we hold back their positioning? We're going to keep this kind of control at the top of main stairs and therefore prevent them from pushing into study. They didn't even really have to do that because they just had, I don't want to say an onslaught, but pressure coming in from the other sides. So now they're going to be moving on over to Kitchen, and we did see Citizen starting things off on the Finca, switching that over to the Maverick. Kind of interesting that he's really been the sort of centerpiece of a lot of these 6 picks that G2 are trying to do to bait things out and whatnot. But, whatever makes you happy, I guess.
I mean, sometimes you have these 6 picks and they're just too late, or they pick the wrong operator still. So maybe, maybe Citizen is the most reliable person to put on that 6 pick. I'm not sure, of course. As it is going to be Kitchen. We are waiting to see how G2 is going to be able to their attack together for this one. As this time it's going to be a bit more of a roam game, possibly to command of Vitality. As I said, it's going to be 2 or 3 people above.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually going to be watching out to see what it is Fabian does here, because there have been a number of rounds, not just here, but also in some of the previous matches they've played, where you can tell that he has been providing a lot of value in those situations, and sometimes it's just been a case of some of his teammates haven't necessarily provided the right support and things like that. I think if Fabian can get a couple of those really key kills while playing here on the Vigil, that could potentially start to switch the momentum out for Vitality. Now, of course, they've got Rise as well, sat here on the cardiac sensor, who'll be able to pass on, well, yeah, exactly, pass on that information to the rest of his team as G2 start to push in. And there we go, here are these roamers sat upstairs. It's going to be Bibu on the Legion, and of course, Fabian on Vigil.
There's so much information coming through from that cardiac right there. There's some verticals being created, a C4 being tossed over, but no kill to come in as a return. As right now, the ADS has been wasted by Pangu. Probably the next choice will be to toss over that grenade, as Citizen is looking to go in. Second C4 coming in, also not dealing any damage right there. Grenade being tossed in. Rise, are you aware of that? Yes, he is. Mute Jammer taken care of. That means at least Pangu is going to be able to open up right now, as you see Rise. He's trying to go aggressive. He's trying to go for these peaks right here. Surely will be heard. Surely will be noticed. As Uno holding a vertical angle right there through the hatch, not being challenged by any of these players that are still roaming upstairs. As oh,
wow!
Good night. That's a beautiful shot, Citizen. Unfortunately, you're getting traded straight after, but that was a beautiful shot to start things off with as an entry. As Benga gets taken down, it's Rice to respond, and only 50 seconds left right now.
A little bit messy there from G2, but this puts Vitality in a situation where maybe they could begin to turn things around. The diffuser has, of course, been dropped, so that's something that G2 will have to be concerned about. 40 seconds left remaining, and Kanto's got to be taking enough damage to go down as Bibu confirms that kill for himself. That leaves just Uno Meister and Virtue remaining. This could be Vitality's chance to actually start making a name for themselves. In go the smoke bolts. Rise is right there. He's not going to be able to do anything, as actually he goes to the gas himself. Not a good start here for Vitality. Just 2 of them remaining, and they're going up against 2 members of G2. 13 seconds. G2 going to be able to do it, though. Watching out for this angle is Bibu. Uno Meister gets a kill for himself, and Bibu can't quite confirm the next one. Getting close to that rotate, but not exactly going to use it. The diffuser does go down in the meantime. He's on his own, and he's going to have to deal with this, but he can't. Uno Meister confirms that last kill, and G2 take a 3rd round.
That all went really wrong with that smoke canister being deployed right into the pulse right there. That ticking down. Instant responses from G2 to come down as well, and suddenly a 4-on-2 advantageous position for Vitality turned into a 2v2 nightmare, where there was not enough utility left anymore to stop them from coming in. The plant went down, they missed the gunfights, Uno came out supreme, and it's a 3-0 right now. Uno on that 5-on-0 KD, not dropping a single death yet, together with the rest of his team. everybody's kind of pulling their weight right here. Virtue, of course, on 0 kills, but he's using these smoke bolts, these asphyxiating bolts, just to make sure that Vitality is not able to get into the position they would like to be, and enabling the plant as a result.
Well, there's that thinker that G2 kind of teased on the last round and opted to not go for, and instead is being brought out here as they head in once again to Aviator Games. And it makes me wonder if maybe they're going to try and play a little bit more aggressively, as last time Vitality did choose this site, they managed to hold G2 back for a decent amount of time and hold a lot of that control here on the south side of the map at the top of main stairs, prevent them from moving into study. So it'll be interesting to see if G2 do decide to play a little bit more aggressively using that adrenal surge available to them. But of course, Vitality have a couple of changes themselves as well. They are bringing the castle this time. That'll be Fabian playing that role. And that'll give them a little bit more room and ability to roam, perhaps a bit more of a utility sync required of G2. And you also have Rise once again on the pulse. Again, bring a lot of that information required of the team so they know where their opponents are and potentially will be able to catch them out in those situations that they weren't last time.
And of course they go off the smoke when the actual thinker gets brought in, right? It does double the damage when the adrenaline surge is active, but I'm kind of more confused about the setup they're currently running. It's very heavily oriented towards the reading room. However, that is probably not a direct area where G2 wants to go from. You see, right, Rise is sitting here, he's giving out information, and all the reinforcements are from out the reading room. There's 2 people in there. G2 does not have to deal with it. Yes, it's 2 C4s, but they're still safe plant positions. If you manage to overrun them in the site, which is a very likely possibility if you use the adrenaline surge to good effect, there's safe spots where you can plant, and there's nothing they can do with those 2 C4s.
And that's the risk that you have to run. Citizen here, getting ready with that frag, and he's going to be opening up the floor with it. But Goga, who's actually sat well, all right, Goga's okay, but Fabian is not. He's going to be taken down with a nade himself, and actually he was one of those roamers that we wanted to look out for, and that takes a lot of that prowess away from Vitality. Bibu's now got to be watching this flank without knowing that he has Fabian there by his side as well.
There's only 2 people left on site.
Yeah, there's no one really around. Goga does confirm a kill for himself as Kanto Raketi's going to be taken down, and he's still protected here by this ADS. He just wants to try and get those angles. Returning to his shield, as Virtue will be returning to the ground. Bibu getting a kill for himself.
I was going to be saying it's very smart what Citizen's doing there, knowing that there's 2 roamers still on the board. They need to come up on one of these staircases. Just holding off on the main one right there could potentially land you 1 to 2 kills, but Vitality in the meantime managed to turn around the favor again, and as these last 60 seconds come through, the round most likely will not last as long, as G2 is looking to go for these entries right here. Had just barely not being spotted out right there by Citizen, who's trying to cut the pie right here, kind of trying to come through. As Goga's still playing on the shield, uncontested, is going to be able to get the kill onto Yuno, as Bibu picks up on Pengu. It's only up to Citizen. Now he knows someone is behind that shield, gives himself a bit of a surge to at least help him with that recoil off his LMG. I mean, basically the complete opposite right there, but I don't think he's going to be able to find a round here. It's a 1-on-4 situation, Gio, and, well, just simply not enough time left.
You know, you can tell he didn't even pick up the diffuser as he's making this rotate around. He's going to be caught up in the crossfire anyway. Rise finishing things off. And Vitality, they needed to get around. You know, Fabian, he left this team. He went to greener pastures, but he needs to prove that those pastures are actually greener and that he can go up against his former team. That's exactly the rivalry that's going on here. And now it's actually a rivalry on the board as Vitality put their name there for the first time. So moving on to the next site, Trophy and Statuary. G2 had a pretty easy time taking this site back on round 1, as Vitality did get a little bit overzealous and play somewhat too aggressively, but gonna have a bit of a change here from Vitality. They don't want to bring the mirror like they did last time, and once again they're going to be opting for the pulse, something that's worked out for them fairly well in the last few rounds, I have to say. That added intel that they've been gaining has been pretty good, but of course, once again, Citizen on the Nook as well. those extra nades, that extra secrecy that comes with playing that operator, and it's been one that's worked out well for G2.
It definitely worked out well, but I think the biggest mistake here that Vitality made the last time around is that they were completely north-oriented, right? There was no one dispatched into the AVGs. There was no hold from there on forward. They were just purely taking it from a horizontal approach from Astro, Master Bedroom, and the Trophy and Stat Tree. And no one was somewhere, like there was no one in Landing, there was no one in 90, there was no one in AVGs or Vault, and because of that, there was so much just free basically free real estate given away to G2 right here, as basically half the, well, 3/4 of the villa was theirs. They only had to deal with the last couple of rooms, and if you're being that generous, there's so much time for G2 to deal with it. Oh no, not like this, Gogo. That's unfortunate.
Yeah,
He still lives though, but
a lot of pre-fire there. But at least Goga is, as you say, going to be raised by his teammate, and Uno can make this rotation back around. He did all he needed to do. Get a, well, I guess it would have been nice if he got a kill, but he did, of course, get the distraction, bring Goga down very low. And on that Maestro, not really the operator you want to be going down early. Citizen, waiting here at 90, going to be using some of those drones, but of course, the likelihood of Vitality knowing that he's there is pretty low. He's got to avoid these mute jammers, but looks like he's going to be able to do that pretty successfully so far.
Sensor activated.
As Kento's just holding off to an angle. Entirely of G2 is. Just trying to find some ground. As they're slowly pushing through.
And I mean,
not really able, yeah.
I think it's kind of interesting, you know, what you said about where Vitality were positioned last time they came here and it being an issue, but G2 haven't had much of a problem of situating themselves in these parts of the map, like having Citizen there in 90 and having, I didn't see which of his teammates it was, but pushing up similarly. They just haven't had much of a pushback when trying to take control here. Unameister's going to be caught there on a goo mine and not quite able to get the kill onto Bibu as he manages to turn it around with the SMG-11, knowing exactly where his location was because of that needle. Not great there for him. And that means Vitality have the man advantage in this situation. G2 starting to push up from these different angles. Kanto shooting down through the floor, but it's not quite going to be able to find what he's looking for as Fabian's right below. He does avoid the nade, but he's not going to avoid death. Kanto does finish things up there, and that puts just 3 members here on the board for Vitality. They're going to go in for the defuse. Citizen, he was taken down as well, but G2, oh, they are going to be interrupted in it. Not quite able to get it as Goga finishes off Kanto Raketi. G2 start to turn these things around with just Goga remaining here. He's going to avoid that flash, but G2, in the end, didn't need to defuse it, but it looked like it was so close.
It was indeed very close. I think something key that we might have missed here was that Virtue, as soon as they managed to get the kills downstairs, was ready to instantly take that control from the bottom floor, just in case someone else was still there. As soon as they realized it was clear, he managed to rotate back up, and that means they have an extra body left to go for this final execute. So, love what Virtue was doing right there, just making sure they have that bottom floor control, make sure there's no more sneaky operators around with a C4 that they could potentially toss up there. And, well, yeah, Uno wasn't exactly spotted out due to that goo mine, but he also knew exactly where the 2 players were downstairs with that drone. So, like, unfortunately for him that he lost that gunfight, but, like, even though the goo mine, he still should have won it.
Well, slight changes being made here as we go into the last round of this half, and it has been a half that's worked out so very well for G2, and it just kind of goes back to what the analysts were saying. They felt in their heart, in their gut, in whichever organ that you want to think of, that G2 were going to have the advantage here, that they were going to look more coordinated than Vitality, and the audience agreed too. 75% of people thought that. But the changes being Citizen's going to be coming through on the Yana instead of the Nook. So have those Geminis available to you. You're still bringing frags. That is something he, of course, had available to him on the Nook as well. That's not going to be changing. But using those Geminis as the extra drones is going to be the key thing here. And we've actually seen, especially in Europe, a lot of teams use Yana on the attack on this map specifically. Now, obviously, with a mute in play on the side of Vitality, those mute jammers are going to have to be dealt with pretty swiftly if you want to be able to get the Geminis anywhere near the site and anywhere near that utility. But, you know, G2, they have the utility required to get rid of those things. They did it pretty well last time. So there's no reason to believe that they shouldn't be able to this time.
Definitely true. 4-1 currently, as G2 is heavily stacked in favor right here. The odds are heavily in their favor. As, well, it often comes down to the very last couple of seconds, but they still manage to, well, just get their round in. Sometimes barely, sometimes with comfort. But the fact being is they're currently 3 in front on a map where normally it would be the other way around right now. It would be up to the attacking team to get that last round in to make sure they still have a opportunity to go into that second half. Right now it's Vitality trying to salvage as much as they possibly can to make sure that, well, when they go over to the attack, they might have an opportunity to outclass G2 here, but so far, G2 definitely the ones outclassing Vitality as they're just so precise and accurate on their executes.
Something that you have to remember that G2 have here is because they're going up against their ex-leader, they're going to know very closely the way that Fabian likes to run his ship. And they'll have that knowledge to their advantage that a lot of teams don't when going up against them. You can watch VODs, you can analyze them, you can try and play if you're Bibu, but it's not going to work out. Kanto getting that one pretty quickly. But when you know the very personality, everything that goes into someone's decision-making in the game, and knowing that they're leading the team that you're going up against, you have that on your side. And that'll be the second kill there for G2 onto Vitality. Citizen getting ready here to toss in that nade. And that's actually going to get Rise as well. Don't know if he was expecting to get the kill with it, but he got it for himself. Gogo going to be looking up through the holes in the ceiling, seeing what he can get. Hungry's going to miss a shot for himself, taking a lot of damage in the process as well, Hap.
He definitely took a lot of damage as Gogo right here is going to be the next one to take the gun. Fiber will be losing it out to Kenta Rakete. And then his Citizens to just sweep in right there. It's a flawless round of G2 to finish off the half with Citizen, I believe, picking up a quad kill, if not a triple kill. It's either one of those two, but G2 definitely reigning supreme in that one. Vitality was nowhere to be found. And it looks like G2 is looking to make some quick work out of this one, as right now they will be going over to the defense. Still a bit contested about where they want to go. AVGs and Trophy both on the board, but it looks like it will be Trophy Statuary, as that will be the first sight we will see from G2 on that defense. Kite is being brought out rather than a Bandit or a Mute to make sure that that triple wall will remain closed. You can do that with just one of the Electro Claws. They will have to go from below to open that up. Fabian brings, of course, that buck. Also, the secondary shotgun on Rise will be splendid for that. So there's plenty of counter opportunities here on both sides.
You know, we want to be looking very closely at how Vitality play here, because when we go back to the last time they played Villa, which was on Playday 2 against Team Secret, and they secured themselves a draw. And in the first half of that game, Vitality looked pretty weak, right? But they turned things around in the second half, but it was in the second half that they were defending. Well, we've just seen Vitality do their defense, and they were able to get themselves one round. If in the past they've looked much weaker on the attack on this map, it doesn't fill me with confidence going into this half. And of course, I am so ready to be proven wrong, and I would love to see these improvements, because Vitality are a team that have shown so far in the EU League that they have been able to improve as time has gone on, and especially since that Villa game. But it's still something that's worth noting and worth thinking about, is Vitality didn't look super strong on the attack when they went against Team Secret. Are they going to look super strong going against Team G2?
Well, so far they haven't really been able to put a dent in them yet. Just one round they managed to snoop away. As G2 looking quite confident. They're probably not going to be sitting here with nerves about, can we win this game, can we not? I think it's purely all that pressure onto Vitality now, as Goga gets the entry onto Uno, who was trying to go for a little bit of a spawn peek, got punished for it. Well, that's just one loss in one of these rounds. Of course, they're not on that 6, on that magical 6 yet, which gives you that magical 1 point, but They still have plenty of time to get there.
You sounded very genuine saying that 1 point was magical, but I'll have
Yeah.
you know, draws are magical
Super
because we're
magical.
the only region that has them, and that's something special. Hungary also has something special there, being able to bring down Kantaraketi, this key fragger for the side of G2, no longer going to be available there on the board. So Vitality starting things off pretty well on the attack, and I am ready to eat my words if they end up doing really, really well here. Virtue just looking out to see if any of those attackers moving in towards him, but so far, nothing. About half the round is down, and G2 are playing significantly weakened. A lot of presence here from Vitality on the northeast side of the map. And, well, Citizen's here on a pretty wide roam, but he's going to be droned out, so members of Vitality are going to know that he's there, and that's going to force him to change his position, I suspect.
It will definitely, but as you see, he's closing off these doors just to hinder Vitality if they would like to go from that area. Just make sure they make extra sound. It might not be ready for that, but something that's key here as well. The Electroclaw is still on. There's nothing Vitality can do to open that. They will have to force themselves to, well, 1 or 2 doorways. And as you see, 2 of the Vitality members right here hoping to move through the Astro stairs. It's going to be Fabian that gets tagged up just a small bit. Robo right now will be opening up from below, but the question is, will it be enough time? Pengu comes on the back though as he drops the hatch, gets in with a smoke canister, but it's not going to be enough to actually reply on that. Instead, he's going to be at least panicking out some of these Vitality members, allowing Virtue to pick up a kill right there. And suddenly it's a 2-on-3 situation with Goga running out of ammo in a mid-gunfight. It's definitely not looking good for Vitality suddenly. It's Fabian to go down, it's Henry to get killed, it's Goga to fall to Virtue, and it's G2 to win the round from a 3-5 all the way back to a round win. They are on match point right now. Uno died from a spawn peak. Don't worry, we still have it.
This must be infinitely frustrating here for Fabian and to a lesser extent Goga, who want to prove that they can stand up in their own independent right against their former team. You know, G2 so storied, they have all of these accolades under their belt. You know, they're the world champions, and it's just, you know that this is a team that is so revered, that carries such deference, that you're going up against, and you used to be a part of that. And you want to prove that you don't need them to have your place on the world stage or the European stage. And so far, they're struggling because G2 are very, very jammy in how they're proving that even if they're put at a disadvantage early on in the round, they can drag it back. They will use manpower to sink their claws into it and pull it back in their favor. And now Vitality have basically one more chance to show that they can do this, because if G2 take this round, then they take the entire series 7-1, and that is a brutal scoreline.
Definitely be a brutal scoreline, something you really do not want to have, especially not against your ex team, because it kind of proves the point that they improve for the better. There's Fabian right now, currently 1-on-7, not really able to find his mark yet. As
5 seconds to go.
Vitality, they managed to get close time and time again, but they just don't know how to close it out. It seems like maybe a bit of a mental block to come through. I'm not sure, but it's not just today that we've seen that. It's throughout the entirety of the EUL so far that they sometimes start off well, or they manage to show up in some of these rounds, but they don't know how to close them out. Not sure why that might be. But, as you said, potentially last chance for Vitality to try and show that they're on par with G2. They need to have 5 flawless rounds to make sure that they draw things up. They cannot afford a single big mistake to come through, because otherwise G2 is going to be ending things right here. The scanner is coming through, so they know exactly one is onto these main stairs, but it's actually 3, so a bit of a bamboozle to come in, Gio.
Yeah, you've also got to bear in mind that the clash is right here, and they'll very much know that now. Those flashes are going to be eaten up by the ADS, but so many members of Vitality are going to be eaten up by G2. What is this? Crazy 4 kills in a row, and it just takes 0.03 seconds for G2 to be able to bait in Vitality and clean that up. And it seemed like that happened in the blink of an eye. All they did was move the clash forward, all these members of Vitality out there on the veranda, and suddenly they are sent into the ground. Talk about your old team proving that they are still better than you. What a way to end that series.
You didn't even have time to finish your sentence or the round was